Yebo. Welcome to Watch Me Build It. This video has been a while in coming, but this is going to be the full review video of the NMK 939 case by Namoki, built up with parts to homage the Tudor Black BB58. So I want to emphasize, this is not the review of an actual watch. What this is a selection of parts that are available from Namoki for those of you who enjoy building your own watches, and I've compiled these to get as close as possible to the look of the Tudor Black BB58. So the parts that I've used are as follows: the NMK 939 case and bracelet set, which costs $191 US, the ceramic BB58 bezel insert, which costs $38, the BB58 black and gold dial that costs $43, the snowflake hands in gold, which costs $25. The movement I used is a Seiko NH38, which I purchased off of AliExpress for $35, and then the case back is Namoki's SKX Slimline case back. So all in all, that's a collection of parts that costs $352. I'm going to waste no more time. Have a look at what happens when we turn the camera around, see what we've built, and then I'll speak to you a little later about building your own. So a little bit about our venue today. We're at the Woodstock coffee shop. This is in County Kildare in the town of Monastravan, out at the Moore Abbey Woods. A really quaint little coffee shop set outdoors, great coffee, great snacks, great environment. So look them up on Facebook, Instagram, and all of the social media places. Thanks, guys. All right, so this is the watch itself. I'm going to do an outside-in review, and I'm going to begin with the buckle. The buckle is going to score a 5 out of 7.5 because it's adequate. It's got a safety keeper, it's push pin deployant. You can see I've worn it a bit. It's got a brushed upper surface, a pressed outer shell with 3 points of micro adjust, as well as a milled scissor section. So I would like more micro adjust, but the upside of this is that it's actually a small clasp. It's not very obtrusive, and that I think is in its favor. It doesn't have any on the fly adjustment, and that is a bit of a downside. Now the strap, they've done a faux riveted bracelet, sorry, not strap, and I think they've done it very well. If you have a look here, you'll see there are no rivets there and there. That is because that's the opposite side of the adjusting screws. So this is the route Namoki have taken. You've got rivets on the non-adjustable links, and the adjustable links you simply have screws in place of rivets. They're not too obvious when you're wearing them. In fact, I wouldn't even know that that was the case. I think it's a great solution, and because of the nice finishing of the strap, the comfort of the wear, the fact that it tapers from 20 down to 16, it also has great end links. They seat very well, they're solid, and there we go, 6 out of 7.5 for the strap. Then moving on to the case back, I've used Namoki's Slimline case back. It's very standard, straightforward. It tightens with a nice case back removal tool that they supply. It does the job well, and the case back is getting a 3 out of 5 because it's sufficient, but there's nothing special about it. Then the case and the bezel, you'll notice I've taken a glove off so that I can show you the bezel action. But the case itself I find to be the star of the show. Highly polished case sides that is susceptible to micro scratches. It does homage what they've done on the actual BB58. It's got a nice chamfer over here that runs thick, tapers, and then comes out thick again on the other side. Nicely brushed lug tops. Okay, the crown is unsigned, but it's a really good size. It's 7.3 mil, so it's a nice big crown, homaging those older builds as well as the BB58. And then the bezel is very slender, and I think that's one of the winning components of this watch. It's also the watch's weak point. When I got my first case, I had a very sticky bezel, and I tried to take it off and amend that, and I warped it. Namoki kindly sent me another case, and this is the new case. When I got it, the bezel was rather stiff, but I've been using it quite a bit, and it loosens up nicely with a really good firm action. It's a bit sticky when the triangle gets down to this point over here, but all in all, I think this bezel is better than what I first expected. And on this particular unit, the case and bezel, out of 15, I would have given 14, except for the fact that the bezel is a bit sticky. I've taken 1 point off for that and given a total of 13 out of 15 for case and bezel. Now, crystalline dial. I'm hoping I can do this justice. But this dial is really nice. It's a matte dial. It's got good gold printing, gold indices filled with a slightly off-white lume, but I like the fact that it's not overdone. The crystal is very special. Look at this. And this is part of the reason for the thickness on the watch, is that it is a boxed sapphire crystal with AR coating. I love this because the boxed edge gives you distortion, but the fact that the top edge is flat doesn't distort it overly much. I really like the dial. I really like the crystal. I really think they've done a good job on those. So crystal and dial are earning 14 out of 15. A movement which could score 20, I've given an 18, which is what I give to all of the Seiko NH movements, because it does its job really well. It does it without any fuss. It's easy to work with. It's easy to install. It'll go for years and years. So the movement's getting an 18 out of 20. The lume on this watch, I will insert a lume shot, but the lume is really strong. It glows like a torch when it's charged. It goes all night. And so I'm giving the lume 8.5 out of 9. Now, before I get onto the X factor, I want to do the dimensions of the watch. So, the magic dimension, the diameter of this watch is 39.1. Just 0.3 off of Tudor's version of the watch. Then the thickness is 13.6. Now that is 2 mil thicker than the original. I think what's responsible for the thickness is the box sapphire. That probably adds a 0.5 mil, but then the fact that it's riding deep beneath the case, that's probably where your added heft is. So it's quite concealed when on wrist, but it is a bit thicker than the original that we look into homage over here. Another one of the reasons that it's thicker, you'll notice that the ray height is pretty deep, and that's because Namoki have built this case so that it can take a GMT movement, the NH34 movement, and that also is adding probably 0.5 mil. Last dimensions, we're at 20 mil lug width, and we are at a lug to lug of 47.4, which is 0.4 longer than the original. So why did I want to do these things? Because this all comes into the X factor equation. I really think they've done a good job of coming close to what they were wanting to do with this case. I have one real objection, and it is the bezel insert. Now, it is a great ceramic bezel insert, really good printing, gold, high sheen, red pip, a great lume pip at 12. My big problem with the bezel insert is that it is a high sheen ceramic. Namoki, if you're listening, please do a second version of this bezel insert in brushed steel. That would be perfect. But as for X factor, I'm giving this a 9.5 out of 10. The other metric that I use is value. This watch, or this set of parts, cost $352 US. That is with the NH38 movement at $35 from AliExpress. If you bought a San Martin SN008G with a PT5000 movement, you would pay $335 US. San Martin make an SN008G B which runs a Seiko NH35 movement at $240. So that gets a lot less expensive than this. But this is not a watch. This is a kit of parts. Now, if you compile a kit of parts where you're looking at a case, a sapphire crystal, ceramic bezel insert, stainless steel strap, movement, gold hands, black and gold dial, you would pay a lot more than that. So I think as far as for what this is, its value is really high, and I'm ranking it a 9 out of 10 on value. So what do you think? I really like it. I really like it, and I think Namoki have done a good job of coming really close to the target, at least presenting us with a set of parts that gets us really close to the target. I really like this watch because it's got character. I like the fact that it's got the smaller indices. I like the fact that its loom isn't forced, but that it's quite a natural off-white, and I'm really enjoying this watch. I have done a video on a comparison between this and the St. Martin SN008G. Have a look at that video if you kind of weighing up the two options. This is a totally different proposal because you're building this one yourself, and it's gonna be your own watch. And on that point, if you want to do that, there's a discount code below. I've asked Namoki if they can give me a higher discount than I normally am able to offer, specifically for this month. So have a look below my video. I'll give you the codes that are applicable and the dates that they apply. If you want one of these and you're not a watch builder, what you can do is send me an email at watchmbi@gmail.com, and we can make an arrangement where I can get a hold of the parts for you, I can build a watch for you, and I can send you a fully built watch. But other than that, I'd like you to click like, please subscribe to the channel, and if you want to buy anything from the Namoki store, use my affiliate link downstairs. But more than anything, enjoy what you've built and join me for the next video. Cheers.